we've had a lot of talks about Lenorris Sellers, the South Carolina team in the back half. We just talked about the playoff. And we talk about playmakers and just guys who have that dog in them. And sometimes when you watch guys play, and we see this across all sports, some guys are just different. And you can tell it from early on. I think you could say something similar about DJ Lagway. I think you could say something a little bit similar about Nico Iamaleava as well. Not that he's taking his team to the playoff as a freshman, guys. So, I know the defense is elite and all that stuff, but I think we need to start talking about Nico in the light of some of these other guys that have just started to come on. When Lenorris Sellers plays football, he does things that take me aback from a physical standpoint.
Yep.
To be able to not only just run as fast as he does for as big as he is, but his change of direction and his hands are so big, he can do things. He can make moves with the ball in his hand, which is dangerous, right? But he can make moves with the ball in his hand and keep his eyes downfield. We talked about South Carolina really thrives in the havoc plays, offensively and defensively. When did South Carolina score their touchdowns in this game? Both on havoc plays. On Lenorris Sellers having to make two guys miss, everything breaks down. He decides to take off and run and scores. Just the physical development of this player as a freshman, watching him mixed with the mental ability he has to be able to make those big plays. Now, 2 straight weeks in a row, he's led a game-winning scoring drive to beat a ranked team. Did it against Missouri last week. Did it on the road against Clemson, a top 12 ranked team in the country, your biggest rival when you had to have it the most. Shane Beamer and South Carolina are national title contenders next year and beyond. I'm telling you right now, with this kid at quarterback, I actually agree with him. I think Lenorris Sellers could be the best player in the country in next year. Overall, I think you have a chance to win the Heisman. If he continues to develop as a passer, I'm just.
You think they're national contenders this year?
If they get in, I think they got a shot. I don't think they're going to get in, though. So, I literally think they'll going into next year with what he'll do in the transfer portal, right? What they'll get on defense. Even defensive players want to play with great players. And when you have one at quarterback, that helps. I'm telling you guys right now that this South Carolina era that's about to happen could be the golden one. We didn't know if we'd ever see it again after what Spurrier did, winning, 33 games in 3 years. This is setting up at South Carolina to be something very, very special. And I'm just happy for Shane and for that fan base.
Man, I got to play with Denard Robinson when he was a freshman, and I got to see firsthand a young player who's coming in, and the game's still really fast for him, and they're not elite throwing the football, but they just have such a playmaking ability that it literally makes your jaw drop. And you say, man, when he really gets the tools around him, that's going to be something. That was as a freshman, and Denard wasn't even starting yesterday. Some of the things this kid did yesterday to escape the pocket and to escape pressure, and kudos to Clemson for continuing to get after him time and time again. To watch him escape like that, there were serious elements of Cam Newton. There's a lot of Josh Allen comps in there, and really has the speed, to be able to take off even after he escapes the pocket like that. The next evolution of what Lenorris Sellers is going to be able to bring is to be able to escape that pressure like that, but with his eyes downfield, so he can beat you throwing the football as well and not just running. It was truly incredible, but not just his performance. This entire football game, man, that's an in-state, out-of-conference rivalry that went down to the wire. And I'll say the same thing about Cade Klubnik, man. He continued to step up time and time again despite that pressure from South Carolina, and he was giving them the business with his legs as well. But Lenorris Sellers, at the end of the day, 166 on the ground, 2 touchdowns, 164 through the air. That's the way a football game should be, right there.
Okay,
Blake, I was just going to say, even after that, though, there's only one team in that group of that game yesterday that controls their own destiny, making the college football playoff. That's Clemson.
Yeah. I will say this: as good as Cade played, you can't make that mistake at the end.
True.
You cannot make that mistake. If you were a true freshman or something like that, we could have a conversation. But that's almost as worse as throwing it away on 4th and goal. It's to the point now. And look, y'all need to realize how big South Carolina is as a Lenorris Sellers.
They look huge.
Lenorris Sellers is 6'4", 240 pounds, right? Nicholas Harbor is a tree, right? Then you have Kennard, then you have Rocket at running back.
They're huge.
They're a huge football team, and right now, man, I think they're playing some of the best football in college football, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if they got put in the playoffs.
I
Well,
wouldn't be
I wouldn't
pissed about it.
either.
I just like who you
Hey,
getting
but
in
now
over.
the scenario is here that we talked about, right? What if Clemson goes 9-3 with 2 SEC losses out of conference that book in their schedule, and they still make the ACC championship game, which is going to happen now after Miami lost to Syracuse, and they're going to play SMU for a chance to really, I mean, would they still get someone has to get one of the first 4 buys. You know, it can't be the ACC and the Big 12 both playing in the first round. So that this whole scenario is getting fascinating.
And if you look too at South Carolina, if that were to happen, if Clemson were to go win the ACC championship game, you now have played in 1 year LSU, Ole Miss, who's ranked, at Bama, Texas A&M, who's ranked, Missouri, who's ranked, one at Clemson, who's ranked, and if they win the ACC championship, I mean, you're looking at a chance to you've at least played. If Clemson does get in, take them out, 2 bubble teams, really 3 bubble teams. As far as the college football playoff goes. So that strength of schedule is only going to increase. So it was a huge win for South Carolina. But if you're Clemson, the saddest part is if I was a coach of either team, I would rather be Clemson. I'd rather be Clemson because I do control it. I don't know what the committee's going to do. And it's a game that I think is winnable against SMU.